think from Highlands United Methodist Church will give our invocations.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this incredible day and this incredible community that you've allowed us to be part of. I ask, Holy Spirit, that as you come descend upon us today, that you tend to the needs of all the people that have gathered here. I ask, Holy Spirit, that you remind our servants here in front of us, remind them of the passion that they had when they took on this role, and Lord, just ignite them again for what they've been called to do. Lord, we ask that in our community here at Bella Vista, you'd help us to put the neighbor back in the hood, that, we would just be the community you want us to be, reaching out to one another and to our neighbors and taking care of each other. There's a lot of decisions that got to be made, and there's a lot of people and a lot of different ways to try to make sense out of things, and we've all got our opinions. I pray tonight, Lord, that somehow your Spirit would enable us to love one another. Disagree, that might be all right, but to love one another nonetheless as we try to make this a great community that other people want to be part of. This I pray in the name of my Lord Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Everyone may be seated. There will be one change to tonight's agenda. We'll be deleting item 16 from the agenda. Next item will be approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve both the board work session meeting minutes and the board of directors regular individually.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 8th, 2016 board work session meeting minutes as presented.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Do I have a motion for the June 16th meeting?
I'll make a motion that we approve the June 16th Board of Directors meeting minutes as submitted.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Now turn the meeting over to our COO, Tom Judson.
Good evening. I'm here to introduce some of our outstanding employees from the POA and our celebrating success. So the first employee we're going to talk about is Joe George. So Joe's going to come up and join us. Joe has been the face of Scottsdale for, I learned tonight, about 12 years. Even though he is retired, he's now back at it and full of positive energy and has a true team spirit. Joe goes above and beyond in whatever task he is asked to do for the POA, and he's done an outstanding job. Tommy Lee, our Director of Business Development, he wants to give Joe a personal big thank you. We asked him to participate in the Garden Club party, and with his help, it was a huge success. He went above and beyond. He worked a total of 24 hours and 2 days of preparation. He made himself available from opening each day until the closing of the venue after each event. And he made sure that all the POA assets were taken care of, everything was stored and put up. And that's true dedication, and we want to thank him for his outstanding service to the POA.
It's been a pleasure with the POA. Trust me, I've been here a long time. It's been great, it really has. And I can see it's going to get better. Thank you.
Thank you
Really
so much.
appreciate it. All right, thanks, buddy.
The next group we have is a little large, but we're going to have them all come up. The Highlands Golf Course Maintenance Group. You guys all step up. You can come on this side, or you can go over on this side if you want to line up. So this Highlands Golf Course Maintenance Group has truly gone above and beyond. We've had a lot of comments, we've had a lot of feedback from our members. We have a large group that has come in, they come in, a golf group that comes in from out of town. They've been visiting Vista for about 12 years now. So they came in, they were booked to play at the Highlands in the morning, on Birchdale in the afternoon, and after playing on the Highlands, they were so impressed with the conditions and the attention to detail that this crew has been doing. They played it again that day and again before they left, which is something they've never done before. So want to talk a little bit about Greg. He has really stepped it up and raised the bar for this team. They've really embraced his leadership. They've gotten down to the details and really put a lot of attention on the details of this golf course. Everybody here has gone above and beyond. This is truly a great group of guys. So I want to turn it over to Greg and let him introduce his team.
Shane O'Neill, Russ Miller, Rosie Newby, Gary Shepard, Dale Meisner, Bob Edler, Gus Holloway, and Jerry Griffith.
Great. Let's give them a big round of applause.
We did some customer service training about a month ago, and we were talking about making sure we provide great customer service, and we included everybody in the training. And every once in a while, I glance over at the maintenance workers, and they're going, "Oh, yeah, we're not talking about us. We're talking about customer service. Can't be talking about us. We're in front of the counter." But customer service comes from everybody. Everybody working together on the team, whether it's IT working together or golf course maintenance. And you guys have done a fantastic job. I've received a number of very complimentary comments about the golf course, and I just want to personally thank you for a job well done.
Thank you. I didn't leave them out. We are going to have them in lunch catered for the entire group and have them have it all served at their location on a date of their choice.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you much.
See you in the morning, Bob.
Right girl, walking her dog, right?
I want to know, I see you guys.
Tom, before we start, I got a question. How do you have the people that wash the cars for the golf? How did they wash the clothes that they use to wash it? Do we have a washing machine that does it, or do they have to do it themselves?
The carts?
Yeah, they use something to wash the car, right?
Yeah.
Rags and all that. How do they clean those things to wash it? Do we have a washing machine to wash it?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to
The
that.
golf carts?
Yes.
There's a wash rack outside at those maintenance, not our maintenance, not golf course maintenance, but the cart people that run them. They would wash them off every evening with a hose and wipe them down.
But he's talking about the rags and stuff.
Oh, and that, I don't know what happens.
Let me look into it, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, please do that.
This is the financials, year-to-date, June 30th. Looking at the income statement on the POA first, and these are in thousands of dollars. Looking at the top line of assessments have been under budget most of the year. We're still under quite a bit, we're under 175, but it's doing better. Our collection efforts are starting to pay off. You can see these graphs, these are the improved lots. You can see where it started, and even when we started sending statements, how they've come down. They've come down almost 100,000 just in our delinquency factor for improved lots, which is very good. This is the same slide, but this is the unimproved lots. It's still coming down, but maybe not quite as much, but that's going to, I'm sure, change in the future. And then here's the combine of all of them together. But you can see the downward trend, so that's very positive if we're making success. Looking at the golf fees, golf year-to-date through June It's 189,000 less than budget. You can see what the major drivers are. Member grievance fees are down 67, private cards are down 58, annual seats 48, cart rentals 12, all the different numbers, and the only positive is the driving range up to 1. So it's looked a lot worse before. This is just really pretty good, I think. And then Pro Shop is down 33 with corresponding. RV park and RV storage, both the combined is up 41, and the park is actually up 36, which is very good. We've had a lot more visitors than what we budgeted. And the storage, we've always had problems in the past, but this is fully rented, or it's almost fully rented, but it's 5,000 better than budget, which is very good. Facilities use fees, we've seen that trend increase. Also, our members are using the facilities more. The recreation fees are up 49, and photo IDs are up 5. Boat income, which includes boat registration and dock fees. Boat registrations have been down pretty much for the last 2 months. We're down 48,000 year to date. Docks down 9. Investment income, that's a good number. That's positive 285,000 more than what we had budgeted. Investment income includes investment income that we've actually made money on with CDs with the interest that have come in, and then also the market adjustment. As the market rises, we realize what that gain is, and that's the total of 285. Lot sales are down from budget, 20,000. Transfer fees are actually better in a long time than we've been. They're just 7,000 less than budget. The research fees, the fee that we added at the last year, is down 25. But transfer fees, that's very good. But overall, they're down 32, but mainly for this new research fee. Other income is down 139, and the major driver in here is advertising is down almost 90,000, and then the rest is disposal of fixed assets and other miscellaneous across the POA. Looking at the total income, it's less than budget for 258,000, again for the same amounts that we've talked about on the line items. Cost of sales is about budget. It's 2,000 higher than budget. And gross profit on this statement, this is the POA without water, 6 months running year to date, it's 260,000 less than budget. Looking at the same statement, POA, in the expense section, salaries and wages are still better than budget by 303. And you can see the major drivers here again is golf, 130,000 down, golf operations 70, MAC open positions 40, and the balance across the POA, just a lot of things. Employee benefits are also better than budget by 45,000. That includes health insurance, payroll taxes, 401k, other things like that. Maintenance and repairs, this is a number we kind of describe about and talk about. Whoops, went back a little bit. It's 132,000 higher than budget, but there's a very good reason why it is. When we had the 88 projects, about the 655,000, it was put all as capital. When the project was finished, we had to analyze what was in it and what could be capitalized according to GAAP. The principles we have to live by, what we can call. So we had to pull out 162,000 in expenses, and these are being reclassified for capital projects. And most of these are resident modifications, including the small items, the plumbing relocation, the adjustments to partitions, counter height, access door width, etc. Those things are not capitalized. Yes.
Dwayne, excuse me, go back to the previous 2 items.
Microphone.
Sorry. Those 2 items, are they a function of efficiencies, or are they a function of our inability to hire?
Some are just open positions, and some are some cutbacks and cutbacks that Tom has made and changed around with. We've had some people in the past that maybe had done the janitorial services as part of the facilities, and now we've got an outside service, and then some of that is just not finding the positions.
Okay, so is the variance the result of actions taken, or is it the results of inability to staff adequately?
It is a combination of the two, but it is actions taken.
Okay,
So
so
we've made adjustments which have resulted in true savings.
okay, so can we expect that a portion of that $303,000 will be appearing someplace else in the state as, let's say, services purchased? as opposed to salaries and wages, we're contracting out things.
When you're talking about the janitorial service, yes, it would be transferred from a payroll item to an expense item, but we're also, by making that switch, we anticipate an annual savings, a 12-month savings of approximately $90,000. We won't realize all that this year because we only recently made that switch. Some of the other changes that we are making are true savings, and so you will not see another item, an increase in one area and an increase in another.
Fantastic, thank you.
Oh, I'm going backwards.
Going backward.
Okay, been a long day, sorry guys. Fuel and oil savings, you've seen that, fuel prices about 57,000 on the POA side. Professional services, about 42 higher than budget. There's several items that make this up. IT consultants with all that they've been involved in. Some appraisal services that we hadn't budgeted for. The economic study split with the city of Vista, and also some legal expense. Postage, 24,000 higher than budget. Again, member communications and publication mailings make up this amount. Others reduction of bad debts. Not only do we have a better savings at the top, we're starting to get some of the income coming back, but we've also had a less write-off of bad debts. So we've got about 67,000 savings there. Most of that portion is due to reduce bad debt expense, which that's very positive too. We put them both together, and that's a good number. Total expenses, therefore, are $324,000 less than budget, again, for these same items that we've gone through. Net income cost of operations at $67,000 higher than what we had budgeted for. And comparable to last year, year to year, 2015 year to date, 108, 2016, 198, including timing. That's a $90,000 pickup. That's $90,000 plus to net income.
And do keep in mind, when you're comparing to budget, you're comparing to prior year, you could theoretically add the 170 because that was unanticipated from the ADA.
Adding book value of assets, we're down in simple cash flow now, we've left the net income. Adding 30,000 back for some write-off of some assets that were sold or retired. And some of that was even the branch well that went over there to the mint field, moving the mint field. It had some money. The capital projects are better than 203, and that is mostly because of this 172 that we talked about, plus there's some additional savings involved in other departments that had savings actually in capital projects. So that's why that number that's a savings, 203, but a lot of that is 172. The reserves for other projects, the 2015 flood and market expense make up this 155. Whoops. And simple cash flow and POA is 252,000, 6 months year to date running, which is a good number. Water utility. Water utility investment income is up on it also, just like the POA, it's up 166, and again for the same reasons. Water sales have been higher all year. They're 118,000 higher than budget. Water sales are actually 92,000 of that number. The new connections are 21, transfer fees are 6, and just a small 1,000 down on disconnects. So that's very positive. We're selling a lot more water this year. It's hot. It's exactly hot. As it gets hotter, we'll sell a little more. Other income is higher than those by 51. Again, the water capital volume fees more than what's budgeted in fees. Total income is higher, 336. Water cost of sales. Water is budgeted for 33% cost of sales, and we're actually seeing 33.7, which is a 54,000 higher than budget, which still is a good number. That's very close to what we had budgeted. Gross profit is 282,000 higher than budget. Looking at the expense section, this is water, 6 months running again. 56,000 higher than budget, better than budget because of vacancies also and other. And other is actually 14,000 less than budget, and mainly due to water street cuts. Total expenses on water is better than budget by 71,000. Net income is better by 372,000. Looking at year to year, we've got a 372,000 better than budget, and we're 134,000 up from the prior year. Capital projects has a small savings of 3,000. Reserve, they had also some flood money, $3,000. And the simple cash flow on water is $359,000, higher than budget. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Just a question if anybody would have, on the boats, how confident are we that all the boat, I'm sorry, on the boats, how confident are we that all the boats on all the lakes are registered or have a tag or whatever we call it?
We're not confident that all of them are. We're making two adjustments. We're increasing the amount of lake rangers that we have to monitor that, and this is a simple thing. We're also changing the stickers that we're placing on the boats because the ones that we have used in the past had a tendency to fall off. So it was harder for our lake rangers would then waste time because they'd have to go up and address a property owner that had legitimately registered their boat, but their sticker wasn't on their boat, or they had to keep it in a plastic bag or something to that.
Do we actually have a lake ranger that goes around in a boat, in a watercraft, that checks?
Yeah, but right, our budget only allotted for 70 hours per week. We've increased that by 50%, and I intend to propose in the coming year budget to increase it even more than that.
Thank you.
With regard to the positive position we're in on the water side, we don't need to do it in this meeting, but I would ask you to please brief the board on what the intended use is for the overages and profitability for the water company. I know that there's the need to save, to replace pipes and so on and so forth. But I also would like to see what the intention is with regard to those significant overages in revenue from the water company. And I'd be happy to do that at some point in the next couple of weeks or months. I'd like to look at that.
We'll do that. We got it. Sorry, I was taking notes.
Open forum, before we get to that, in response to previous open forum comments, we had one comment, and the comment was expressed concern over $80,000 cost per year to keep the current yacht club, future Lake Point building open, not open, but to keep it from getting into disrepair. And I think Tom did a good job of responding to that, if you'd like to.
No, I think we addressed the issue well, and I think the question was answered sufficiently. I think the big difference is, when you have the building closed, you still have to maintain the insurance, you have to maintain the outside of the building because it's still in the community. We still have to maintain the air conditioning. We don't have to keep it too low, but we do need to maintain it, just not let it go to foul. So at the end of the day, it costs approximately $8,000 per year for a 4-year period.
Open forum. If anyone would like to speak in our audience this evening, for you to approach the microphone, state your name and home address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'm Jim Parsons, and I'm chairman of the Bellavista Patriots, live on Lake Avalon. And about 2 months ago, I wrote a letter to the editor, and I stated that who has the best advantage for coming and enjoying the amenities at the least cost? A non-member, or those of us who pay assessments and we're members? Who can come and play for the least cost? That was almost 2 months ago, and I haven't gotten an answer yet. Evidently, there isn't anyone out there that realizes that a non-member can come here and play and leave, and they can come from Chicago, New York, California, Louisiana, play, leave. They just pay whatever the fee is, and they're gone. They don't have assessments that they have to pay. They don't have to worry that if their job fails or their family financial situation fails, if they're gonna have their water shut off, they don't have to live with that. But those of us who are members, it seems like that we are penalized, that we have to pay for these guests who come and play and then leave. And it just doesn't seem right. And according to the Articles of Incorporation, the covenants, and this is not right. The Bella Vista Patriots ask that you not do this assessment increase again. We've been through that, and it costs us money, of course, to have the election, and we pay for it, the members. And then those of us who disagree with it have to pay again. And so it's doubled for us to have to pay for this election, and we just don't think that we should do it. And so the Patriots are asking, let's don't go through this again. What is it about no that we don't understand? And please, don't do this again. Thank you.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing?
Very good.
My name is Steve McKee, live at 3 Towery Place. And I was going to talk about the golf subsidies, where some pay annual green card fees for about 65 rounds, and then play free to the tune of thousands of rounds thereafter. And then where the public comes in and pays 25 bucks for a round, including cart. And then a regular member, so to speak, goes and pays $39, plus, of course, my assessments and my photo ID card. So basically, I'm paying about $66 for a round. Public pays $25, and then there's some, maybe 400 members who, at this stage of the game, of the season, they're paying $0. It's not right. It's not fair. It was the reason the cart seat policy was changed, because members were getting a free ride. Let's apply the same thinking. But again, I don't really want to talk about that. What I really want to talk about is this new issue that supposedly has come out of left field. This request for an assessment increase. Mr. Brooks, you were doing a great job. What just happened? The huge issue wasn't on the agenda for the work session. It was kind of a toss-out statement. Maybe you thought the reporter had left. I'm sure the board members are probably all scratching their heads going, whoa, where did this come from? It wasn't on the agenda. So the reason given for that is because of the aging infrastructure is giving a negative impact on property values. The last I heard, the golf courses are in great shape. The lakes are all fabulous. We've spent millions over the last half decade at the country club, Highlands, Metfield, Birksdale, Kingswood, millions. So the point is, our infrastructure cannot be the cause of this so-called property value problem, in quotes, unquote. A couple of weeks ago, our marketing director suggested we need to do a consistent message. And the message, the board's message, is Bella Vista is a membership community, but it's open to the public. So, where you've always encouraged attached guests.
Steve, your 3 minutes are up. I'm sorry. I appreciate your comments. We will get you answers to what you've posed to us at our next meeting. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and pass out the rest of it. That way you can.
That's fine. That'd be great. Thank you.
And Steve, you're more than welcome. We're meeting tomorrow for a one-on-one, and you're more than welcome to go over any of these additional items at that time.
There's other things we have to talk about.
Where's the one-on-one?
Would you like to ask a question, Linda?
Well, I just explained that where the one-on-one was, because I didn't understand what you were talking about.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Okay. We'll move along to our joint advisory committee reports. Yes, I would like that. Hang on a second.
The Villa Vista Lakes Committee met yesterday in this room. The highlight of the meeting was the introduction of Rick Eccles as the new superintendent of lakes,
Parks and Lakes.
Superintendent of Parks and Lakes. And John Urkel, who was his current assistant in the biology office, moves up to be his assistant. The Lakes Committee was very happy with the selection of Rick as being in charge of that responsibility. We got a report from staff on the status of our fish ponds and our new bay fish. We have substantially good-sized crappie at almost 4.5 inches, and walleye that are about 4 inches. And they expect the change to the stock of the crappie to go on as scheduled as soon as the weather becomes acceptable. Mike Taggart, who has been acting as worms replacement until replacement of Mike, his management report. The Loch Lomond Fishing Dock is on schedule. The project is scheduled to be completed in the middle of September. For those of you that are around the Lake Point facility in the next few weeks, you will see some tree clearing. They're replacing some concrete structures where the dock will anchor to the shoreline, and replacing some of the deck tiles on the old dock that's being moved out for the fishing dock. Tom has already brought up the increase in the number of ranger staff, where we're increasing hours from the lake rangers. There was also some discussion at that meeting about what we're going to do about the problem with boat stickers falling off, and I understand that is now a cured problem.
In process.
In process. That's cured for the Lakes Committee. One of the things that the Lakes Committee did vote on yesterday was sockeye and walleye size limits. The Lakes Committee has recommended to staff that we have a recommended harvesting of 2 fish of a minimum of 20 inches on a sockeye or a walleye. This will protect our brood stock because in the future we will have to produce our own small fish, and sockeye and walleye do not breed naturally in our lakes. So Rick and his staff will have to take care of that. That is a slight reduction in the number of fish from the state standard, which is 3 fish per day, and they have an 18 fish minimum. We're hoping this will give us a few of the bigger fish to produce fries in the future with. There is a job for anybody who'd like to go out and help sample fish to do that. The other important information that was conveyed yesterday was that staff has been continuing to sample the proposed lakes that might be possible for a beach, and so far those are still continuing to have good water quality, so there doesn't appear to be an issue at that point. And their next meeting will be the third Wednesday of next month in this room at 2 o'clock. Unless you'd like to attend.
Thank you, John. Recreation will be next.
Right on.
I can't.
All right, yeah.
Good, how are you?
Hi. The Recreation Committee met on July 14th, and I'm going to give you the highlights of our amenity reports and then the highlights of our meeting. As far as amenities go, the RV park, the Wi-Fi is being installed and taking the place of the talk service, so that's in the works and should be completed soon, if not tomorrow.
Tomorrow, they're doing it tomorrow in the morning.
Okay. And then also we're looking at the option of testing, allowing some tent camping at the RV park with the upcoming bike race that's coming into town. So that's a feasibility study is being conducted, and we should have more on that next month.
Well, the race doesn't take place until November or so.
Right, yeah.
But this is also an interest of the Young Residents Committee. And so we're going to use this as a test to see how it works.
Branchwood, things look really nice. Hopefully we're able to go out for the grand opening. It was a hot but festive time. The hot dogs were delicious. And the music, as I understand, were very good. The committee has agreed that we will be looking at options to adding 4 to 5 benches along the trail so that people have a place to rest and kind of linger. That we are communicating with the city as there have been some benches that were donated for the trails on the east side to get some ideas and try to keep some consistency in regards to the style of bench. We're also, Tom is going to look into, or even have already, into the option of possibly having people donate money and dedicate the bench if desired for the trails at Branchwood.
I'm pleased to announce that we already have sponsors for 3 of the benches. So we may actually go beyond 4 or 5 benches because of the, and I haven't even put it in the newsletter yet, and I already have 3 volunteers, so it's great.
Good. So you have plenty of places to sit.
Meditate.
So, come to yoga, that works too. At the gun range, we are looking at, well, there was a perk test done at the gun range to be able to add a bathroom, and that was successful. So we are looking at plans to making that happen. So those facilities will, of course, enhance the usage of that area. Also, it was suggested to take a look possibly at widening the road that goes to the Skeets facility. So we did ask the maintenance department to take a look at that as when there's tournaments or whatnot, that road's very narrow and there's a lot of traffic. We do have, as far as our minutes go, 1 opening on the committee. So we were introduced to someone who is potentially looking at joining us and still needed to go through her interview and application process. So that's in the work. The rest of the time we spent reviewing the suggestions for our long-term planning, short-term and long-range planning. We reviewed some of the ideas that we had already discussed previously, and then vetted a few ideas that were brought to the table. So we were able to complete that review and submit that report to Tom for his review and to be included in your budget planning for next year. And I think that's it, unless you have anything else.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Golf. Susan?
The golf committee met last Wednesday, and we talked about a number of things. First, the Scottsdale renovation was reported is on schedule, and there is a lot of excitement in the golf community for the reopening of that facility. We also discussed the revenue of the annual fees, including the annual green fees and the cart fees. And over the past 2 years, that has grown 27%. So the changes we made in fees last year appear to be very well received. There was a brief discussion about the quality of the courses right now, which are generally regarded by the community as the best they've been in years and years. And that's partly because of some nice rain. It's partly because of decisions made several years ago to improve the quality of the turf, and we're really seeing the benefits of that. And also the outstanding work of the maintenance groups. On all the courses has been just outstanding. We discussed signage to the new Scottsdale, and there was a question whether there was going to be road signs so people could actually find that course. And Tom indicated that there was budget in the remodeling for both Lake Point and Scottsdale that will provide road signing, and that we're working with the city to get the wayfair signs in a number of places, 15, I think you said. There was a discussion on the Play It Forward program, so most of you know that we have Play It Forward Tees. This is a program really that was started, I believe, by the U.S. Golf Association to help people have more fun and be able to play courses that are the appropriate length for their skill. And so we have markers now, I believe, on all the courses. They are flat markers, and there was a discussion about whether or not they would be mowed down to look like tee boxes. And the answer to that is if it's appropriate with the mowers that are being used and the placement of them. Some of those areas are in the middle of the fairways, and it's not practical or safe for the operator of these very large mowers to stop, get out, take up tee spaces, lower their mower, and so on. So they're going to just be where they are for now. But that program generally has been very well received, and we're seeing more and more people, especially women, playing the Play It Forward tees. And they have a great time. One of our main focuses this year is the expansion of junior golf programs, and Daryl reported that that's going very well. We have the clinics for junior golfers right now. The high school teams are all now practicing. We have 3 high school teams out at Highlands, so they're practicing, and with juniors come parents. We also have the All in the Family Tournament. There's a junior tournament that's being sponsored. Last year we had 17 people signed up. This year it was 80 with several weeks to go. So all of that is being, again, well received by the community. We also discussed the concepts for marketing for next year in preparation of getting budget requests out. And that was approved, and we'll move to the budgeting phase with the help of the marketing department. And I believe that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under old business, you can turn to the packet, page 53. We're going to look at policy 1.04. Proposed change to this policy would make the Joint Residence Committee into a formal JAC. We've also gone through and revised the language. This is an ongoing project that Doug is undertaking.
For the second and final reading, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the revision to policy 1.04 for the second and final time.
Second. Second. Discussion. Just to note that this change has been thoroughly reviewed by the Rules and Regulations Committee and has been found to be to meet all our standards for making this committee a JAC. Thank you, Pat. Being no further discussion, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Under new business, we're going to look at policy 2.08. It's on page 57 of your packet. Proposed trail use policy will mirror the city's ordinance. This is the first reading.
Do I have a motion? Move to approve this as prepared. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? One of our members of the Rules and Regulations Committee, Andrew,
ask for a clarification to ensure that, what were you concerned about, Andrew?
It was the hoverboards and motorized scooters that the kids are using these days. And I spoke to Tom about this, and I guess it was, well, you could.
The term vehicle is all inclusive to those items and any future inventions, such as hoverboards, and whatever's coming down the pipe next.
Future inventions. So this will forever and always be universally the case.
One would hope, and we can always modify it. This invention does not fall under the current rule.
We have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
We're going to look next at policy 6.02, which is on page 58 of your packet. The changes to the official POA publication and release of information policy, which will modernize the policy. This policy was last revised in 2008, and there was no contemplation of social media at that time. This is the first reading.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve for the first reading the modifications to policy 602 on POA publication and release of information.
Second.
Thank you, Joshua. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
To reiterate on this change, rules and regulations has reviewed all of the changes and found them to be acceptable. Supports the approval of these changes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
On page 60 of your packet, back on March 13th of 2014, the Board of Directors placed $288,500 into reserve regarding the research of chemical storage and a wash rack at Golf Central. Golf Central is where we do the majority of our work on our equipment. We bring it all into one location to do that work. Ryan Engineering was hired in August 2015 to do that work. This will get us into compliance with state and federal standards. Since 2014, with the findings, the recent findings of the Ryan Engineering Group, we're now ready to go from reserve to a full project, but the scope of the project has been modified, and we are asking the board to now approve for a full capital project, $384,500. This is an estimate provided by Ryan Engineering. We will still be required to follow POA policy and seek 3 bids for this project. The original engineering for this work is included in the $384,000 that we are requesting at this time.
288 is already set aside.
Already set aside.
Excuse me, but there are adequate funds available in reserves to fund the balance.
Yes, we have sufficient funds in reserve to cover this, which is just under $100,000.
Why the difference?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What caused the difference?
What caused the difference? Keith, would you like to step in?
Sure. First thing I would say is that pricing was done in 2014, so 2.5 years, just natural increases in pricing affected it. We've also modified it a little bit in the scope, not just in the size of the footprint. The original was to do chemical storage and mixing only. we have an issue with wash rack. And where our runoff water from washing our equipment is, we've included that in the project as well. Come to compliance in that area, which is also necessary.
And now that we have the engineering done, we can then, we went from an estimate, a preliminary estimate early on to now more exact.
And this gets us in compliance, and we'll do it for the next 5 to 7 years.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to move funds totaling $288,500 from reserve to a board-approved capital project in the amount of $384,500, assuming that we will, in fact, seek 3 bids on this capital project.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion, signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We walked in a handout. The handout is the subject matter is appointment of the election committee proposal. Per the bylaws, Article 8, Section 1, we were required to name the election committee in July. The members wishing to serve, and we've checked with each of them, so we're not volunteering them without their knowledge, is the gentleman listed here, Buddy Gray, Richard Hartman, Jack Allen, and Gary Crackbaum, Roger Scholes, Philip Bodie, Michael Johnson, and Bob Williams.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Buddy Gray, Richard Hartman, Jack Allen, Gary Creekbaum, Roger Scholes, Philip Bodie, Michael Johnson, and Bob Higgins to serve as the election committee for the next term.
I'll second it.
Any discussion about any of those gentlemen? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. We eliminated item 16 from the agenda. We'll move to item 17. I have a short statement I'd like to read, if you'll bear with me. Fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen in attendance here this evening in the boardroom, and those of you that are at home on the television. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to address the community and the board at an annual meeting. My remarks at the time focused on a hidden gem we call Bella Vista, which in Italian means beautiful view. This evening, I will bring to you remarks concerning Bella Futara, which translates to beautiful future. Like any gem, time takes away part of its glimmer and brilliance, and in turn diminishes its value and appeal. However, once polished, a gem's value and appeal returns. Over time, our POA has lost some of its brilliance. We continue to be of tremendous value compared to other POA organizations. There's little doubt in that. But due to the lack of capital with which to polish our gem, we have lost some of its appeal. Tonight, I will ask this board to approve a member vote to increase our assessments. But before proceeding, I ask that you give me a few moments to examine some of the actions this board has taken in the past 12 months, the benefit of our membership. This board has completed projects designed to improve POA property for members, including pickleball courts, a Metfield exercise life center and golf shop, combining water and member services at 2 locations, and increasing business hours in order to be of greater convenience to our membership. We proceeded with a branch wood repurpose and have a wonderful walking trail for our members. We've made improvements to our gun range, to the Tanya Creek driving range with a resurface of that area. We've purchased new exercise equipment for our life centers, all of them. And those help our members in very many ways. We've purchased lake ecology equipment to help the health of our lakes. We've purchased food service equipment at the Highlands Restaurant so that that facility can be open for our members' use. We've also made many ADA required improvements so that our handicapped members and guests can be comfortable when they visit our facilities. We've hired an experienced and a successful COO that has a proven track record of positive accomplishments everywhere he's been. In his short time here, his team has identified nearly $600,000 in operational savings that will benefit our membership without harming service that we offer to members and their guests. We have approved projects, Lake Point and Scottsdale, just to name two of them, that will open doors to greater membership benefit and real revenue streams for this organization in the future. We've made use of the needs analysis information from membership surveys that began in December of 2012. And we've worked through our JACs and taken board action to identify beneficial projects that's going to improve life here in Bella Vista. This board has worked tirelessly alongside our leadership to analyze internal POA strengths and weaknesses and comparative positions relative to other POA organizations that we compete with on a daily basis. The current assessment investment our members make, while much lower than other POA organizations, does provide positive cash flow along with other revenues each year. However, not sufficient cash flow to complete future improvements based on membership input and operational initiatives. I believe a three-pronged approach to include combining operational savings, additional operating revenues through sales, marketing initiatives, and reserves, and an assessment investment increase will provide the necessary capital to complete the polishing of this gem. I'm going to ask you tonight, I will ask Doug to read a motion that this board approves for a membership vote the following assessment increase initiative. Improved property owners, a $9 per month increase. Unimproved property owners, a $3 per month increase. Each of these initiatives will stand alone on the ballot. One can be approved while the other one fails. Both can be approved, both can be failed. If we move forward this evening in a positive manner, our COO, Tom Judson, will be conducting forums to provide our members specifics relative to the improvements, the cost, and how the three-pronged finance approach pays to cover these costs. I recognize that there will be a variety of opinions and questions on the investment amounts requested this evening. One thing is clear. Our community will be better positioned to provide our membership with amenities that meet today's standards at a price that is very, very affordable while attracting new members looking for a truly affordable, enjoyable place to live and play. Bella Vista Bella Fumauer.
Mr. Brooks has asked that I read the following motion. Mr. Brooks motion to authorize the election committee to seek a vote to increase assessments in adherence to the following provisions. Ballot question number 1. Members in good standing will be asked to vote whether they approve a $9 increase, which will take the monthly assessment for improved properties from $24 to $33. Ballot question number 2. Members in good standing will be asked to vote whether they approve a $3 increase, which will take the monthly assessment for unimproved properties from $16 to $19. Members in good standing will be determined as of August 23, 2016. Only members in good standing will receive a ballot. Ballots will be mailed and emailed on September 1, 2016. Ballots will be finalized and tabulated by the election committee on November 1, 2016. A meeting of the membership will be held to announce the results of the vote on November 1, 2016 at 4 p.m. in Reardon Hall. Management is authorized to contract with TIE, the Inspectors of Election, for $36,500 to administer the vote. The board waives the 3-bid policy requirement since management received competitive bids for the same services earlier this year. This motion is brought by Mr. Brooks. Is there a second for this motion?
I second the motion.
Any discussion? Ron?
I'd like to express a little bit of optimism that I've had worked very hard to find over the last few years. Optimism I now feel for Bella Vista. You know, this board has, I don't know how many calculators we burned up. And several of us before, when we were on the golf committee and other committees we've done even in the years before we were on the golf committee, burning up calculators and trying to figure out what's a real solution with real numbers that add up and that will work for Bella Vista. It's easy to, when you start this, to feel that it seems almost impossible. When you look at this and think about Bella Vista was started as an amenity-based community, and people here primarily to use the amenities, and over time, as the polish wore off, as Bob said, it started to change and become less about amenity-based and with more people coming because there were areas and housing that was very inexpensive and not using the amenities. It began to fade a little bit more. And you look and say, how can Bella Vista continue to be relevant and viable and competitive? And then you look and see where are the other places that are like us, where our assessments are $24 a month, and Hot Springs Village is $65. All the other Cooper communities are in Missouri and South Carolina and Tennessee and West Virginia, all are over $100 a month. And you look at it and say, how can we possibly overcome this and make it work for Bella Vista? And then the more we work on it, we find that there are a couple of reasons that we can make it different here, and why this is going to be different and more optimistic than I can express for what Bella Vista is going to be like in the future. Because we have two things going for us. The first is by going to a city. The city took police, fire, streets, and trash pickup a few years ago. That saves us about, we were spending $4.2 million on that, out of a $16 million budget or so. So that takes part of that away that we don't have to do. Doesn't make up the difference of 124, but that's real money. We wouldn't be here if we hadn't done that. Then secondly, we are probably the largest POA in the country. We have more lots, and so that can be spread over a larger group of people. And then we start working on what really it will take, and the numbers now actually do add up, and they will work. And Tom's going to be expressing this. If you want to see the details, come to his coffee and questions, and he's going to show you how all these make sense and how they do add up, what we need, what will be paid for from each part of it, and it will actually work. There are a couple of things that are critical to it that I hope everybody in Bella Vista will understand. And one of them is by hiring a guy like Tom who really knows how to do efficient management, there are cost savings in this from what we've had before. And we have to make sure that those are really savings and don't affect the amenities. Secondly, there's an assumption that we can get Bella Vista growing again. That is, especially with people who want to use the amenities. We have too many empty tea times, we have amenities that aren't being used. And so there's an assumption that we're going to be able to bring those in, and more people using those as well. So we're trying to do our part. You can see the things that this board has done in all the hours that Bob listed before to make it nice enough, again, to get our iconic buildings like the Yacht Club. This building we're looking at plans for. This is underutilized from what, we need to make it enjoyable for all of us like it used to be. And all the other things that he mentioned to get those, to bring people here and get that going again. The community can get involved in this. Your kids and grandkids should have their weddings at Lake Point. You should bring your friends here and play golf. A community like this can only survive if we're continuously recruiting new people. And a lot of times people misunderstand that. Mr. Parsons misunderstands it and misrepresents it. In order to continuously bring people in, we have to expose them to our amenities and try to bring them in to become members. Our members have faded that are using the amenities. We have to bring them in, show what a great place it is, and we will start growing again. So I have finally, after I don't know how many calculators, I'm really optimistic these numbers will work. Bella Vista will be as wonderful a place as any amenity-based community in the country. Very attractive amenities that you'll be proud to take anybody to at a cost that will be a fraction of what it is at any other amenity-based community you want to go to in the United States. A third of the second cheapest and a fourth of any other on that list. And we'll commit to you that I know Tom will, that we're going to use the money as effectively as possible. We're going to run it very, very well. It's going to be a combination, just as it's been, of all sharing in a reasonable way with the amenities, and then paying other fees for the amenities that you want to use, which is innately fair. So I'm optimistic this will really work. When you want to see the details, let Tom do it. Add up the numbers yourself. Bring your calculators. And you'll see this is a plan for Bella Vista that wasn't just cooked out of thin air. Many, many, many hours of hard work. And, it is going to be a terrific future. I'm not going to try to say it in Italian. I don't speak Italian like Bob does. But thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that everybody needs to understand is that when Bella Vista was founded in 1965, the cost for the assessments was $5. If we take that $5, we know that some of them, as Ron just mentioned, were for city services, or police services, fire services, etc. So some portion of that $5 went to those things. If you take those $5 and convert them to 2015 dollars. The $5 in 1965 is the equivalent of about, and I don't have the figures right in front of me right now, but it's approximately $37. So if we were paying $37 today, we would be paying the same as what was paid as $5 in 1965. If you take the cost of city services that we talked about and knock that $37 down a bit to cover the cost of those services, you're still going to be less than the equivalent in 1965 versus 2015 dollars. You're still going to be paying less than things were when we started. And of course, you have expanded amenities. There wasn't pickleball in 1965. There was not a gun range in 1965. All of the things that we have now are costing us at least the equivalent of what it cost when this village was founded. And I think what we have is a bigger, greater
more wonderful place to live than was ever imagined in 1965. Things have changed, and we have to expect that part of those changes we have to pay for in the way of increased assessments. And I would urge you all to keep that in mind as you consider the assessment proposal that Mr. Brooks is making.
Joshua?
I think one of the objectives when I ran for this post was to make sure that Bella Vista is run like a business. Check and balances, and I think we've got to that point. We are closer to that point right now. We're making great progress. Like they said, it was an amenity community before. And I think for some reason it got to a point where it's beginning to look like a place to go and die. But unfortunately, and thank God, we're not dying as fast as we thought. So we've got to improve our amenities, because I've thought around looking at on most of our amenities, they are too old, they are not adequate for the kids that are moving in recently. We need to look at Bentonville. We need to look at some of the pools around there. Those things need to be fixed. The amenities have turned out, we're not getting much people playing the golf and attending the amenities because we are taxing them here. Every minute we're increasing the price for one thing or the other because we have to keep this thing maintained in order to spread the word around. I agonized seriously about this increase. I objected it very, very much until we come to this point of $9. I said that I think that is fair. We need to move ahead. We need to make Bella Vista be a great place to be because it's a great community. But sitting at tents that are built 20, 30 years ago, no change is going on. You have to drive from one section of the town to the other section to attend certain things. It does not make sense. It doesn't make our life better. That was most of the reason why I said, look, I will agree to this increase. We need to look at other cities, go to Rogers. They have a very nice adult facilities. Most of our facilities, our elder ones that retired here, the disabled ones can't even use it because it's not adequate enough and we don't have the money to do it. And we cannot burn our rainy money every second just to do this. It would be nice for people to think through these things very, very well. There's a lot of argument. Mr. Person, I respect him very well. I've spoken to him many times. They have to look at the facts and make sure that we get this city back to what it needs to be. This is the 20th century. The gun range, the RV park, now we have Wi-Fi there. We don't have a dial-up anymore. Those things cost money to do. So we need to help get busy living or get busy dying. But we want to get busy living. And we want to do it here in Bella Vista.
Ron?
Sorry, I already made way too long a speech, but I forgot to make one comment that I think is important. And that is that I know that a lot of people will perceive this to be a financial hardship. And I can tell you nobody understands financial hardship any better than I do. All of us have had that at different points in our lives and understand what these things are like. There will also be others that say, you know, they want to make preferences and say, you know, and clearly wish that candy bars were still a nickel and make, you know, those kind of references of what things used to be. What I can tell you is this board, these people on the board here are property owners just like you are. They're volunteers. We don't get paid anything for this. We're doing the best we can do for people. If this board could make candy bars be a nickel again, we would do it. But that's just not in our power. But I can tell you what we have done on this is work tirelessly to find a way to make this place continue to be wonderful and at a cost that is the absolute lowest that we can find a way to do and still provide that for you. And I think if you look at that objectively and see what other places cost and see what it really costs to maintain things and make them nice enough for people to want to go, want to come here and keep this community alive, and all the things that people here just said, that's what you'll find here. Thanks.
Any other comments? There's been a motion and a second. We've had discussion.
All in favor? Any opposed? Votes unanimous.
Thank you, Ward.
Just so everybody is aware, it was referenced earlier that we're going to have our first coffee and questions on Tuesday, July 26th at 6 p.m. in Reardon Hall, and that will be dedicated to going over the plan regarding the assessment increase. And also we will dedicate the August 9th and August 23rd coffee and question session. All three of those will be dedicated to the increase.
One final item. We have logos at some of our golf courses, and we're expanding those along with some of our other facilities. I want you to know that there's apparel available now for sale. This shirt I'm wearing tonight happens to be the Highlands Bella Vista logo. I'm going to go over and get a close-up for our TV audience.
It's too bad you can't fill it out.
Please show your Bella Vista pride and your golf course pride by buying merchandise specific to that golf course that you so readily enjoy playing. Our next board COO board meeting will be Thursday, August 4th at 2:30 at the Country Club Board Meeting Room. This is a closed discussion meeting. Board Directors Work Session will be Thursday, August 11th at 8 a.m. here at the Country Club Boardroom. And our regular Board of Directors meeting will be Thursday, August 18th, 6:30 here at the Country Club Board Meeting Room. Drink lots of water, stay cool. Good night.